Hello and welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint Show. I am your host, Jay Jones. Black Entrepreneur Blueprint was created specifically to educate and inspire Black entrepreneurs to launch, build, and grow successful businesses. Join us as we help build an economic power base in the Black community by promoting business ownership. If you are currently an entrepreneur or want to be an entrepreneur, we invite you to join us every week here at Black Entrepreneur Blueprint.
Welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, episode number 248. I'm your host, Jay Jones, and today we have another outstanding show in store for you. Today's show topic is, are you doing business or bidness? 6 tips to running a tight business. Yeah, I said business, family. Are you doing business or bidness? 6 tips to running a tight business. And before we get into today's episode, family, I just want to share a few things. Number one, I want to welcome any new listeners to Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. Thank you so much for joining us and welcome to the BEB family. Now, please stay tuned until the end of today's episode, and I'm going to give you all my social media contacts, and please connect with me. Also, my new book is out, A New Black Wall Street, Circulating the Black Dollar Worldwide by Building Successful E-Commerce Businesses. So if you're looking to build a successful, sustainable e-commerce business, please go to anewblackwallstreet.com. Pick yourself up a copy. It's $14.95 plus shipping and handling. Now, if you need additional assistance building your successful, sustainable e-commerce business, I've created a compatible online course titled Educated E-Commerce. Now, this takes you from step A to step Z, and it holds your hand all the way through the process with actionable steps and video tutorials. So go to educatedecommerce.com. Now, you guys know the show is about Black entrepreneurship and circulating the black dollar. It's about Black economic empowerment. So I've created another platform titled BeSmartByBlack.com. So if you are a Black product producer and you're looking to sell your products to Black consumers worldwide, please upload your products to BeSmartByBlack.com. It's free to upload your products. Now, for any of you freelancers, so if you do anything on Fiverr or freelancer.com, please, I've created a platform titled HireBlackFreelancers.com, HIRE blackfreelancers.com. So if you do anything like coding, web design, voiceovers, editing, anything that you can find on Fiverr or Freelancer, please put your information up on HireBlackFreelancers.com so you can connect with any Black consumer or business that's looking forward to connecting with a Black freelancer. Now, that's a mouthful. Now, family, we're going to get into today's episode. Are you doing business or bidness? 6 tips to running a tight business. We all know that being an entrepreneur is tough, and there are many reasons why businesses fail. Now, being a Black entrepreneur is even harder because we have other stigmas and things that are intrinsic to us, unfortunately, that seem to make it harder for us to be successful. So when we do have opportunities to start businesses, please don't let something silly cause you or your business to fail. Okay, so sometimes this can be prevented by doing just a few things differently. And today we're talking about, are you doing business or bidness? Okay, 6 tips for running a tight business. Now, on my show in the very beginning of when I started Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, I was blessed to be able to interview Mr. George Fraser, the owner of FraserNet. And Mr. Fraser is an experienced Black entrepreneur who's built tremendous businesses. And while I was traveling recently, I was actually listening to one of his talks, and he was talking about doing business or doing bidness. And he really hit on some major points. And I just want to play you a short excerpt of this talk, and then we're going to get into the 6 tips to running a tight business. This is an excerpt from Mr. George Fraser, the owner of FraserNet.
The third term for Fraser Nation will be entrepreneurial thinking. Entrepreneurial thinking. I did not say entrepreneurship. We must work on the minds of black people.
Yes.
What is entrepreneurial thinking? Entrepreneurial thinking is taking responsibility, taking ownership, and mitigating the risks to all things that you do in life. And that mindset may lead you someday to a business. And we know that there's some Negroes that should not be within 100 yards of owning a business. Now, I don't know how long you've been black, but I've been black for 73 years. And we got some Negroes out there doing business. And there's a difference between a businessman and a businessman. And what we're trying to do with Fraser Nation is put the business people out of business. Because they're messing it up for those of us who are trying to do serious business.
I don't know about you guys, but when I was listening to that excerpt, I was cracking up. It's unfortunate, though, a lot of times we are doing business as opposed to doing business. So today's show topic, family, are you doing business or business? 6 tips to running a tight business. Now, tip number 1 is mindset, having the mindset of success. And what does that mean? And that means that you have to recognize and understand, unfortunately, that we always need to be twice as good as our competitors. Because the way people view our businesses, they're looking for it. They're expecting us not to be as good as the other businesses or have the same quality as the other businesses. So the mindset is we have to be twice as good as other businesses. And once again, it's all about expectations. We need to make sure that we exceed the expectations of our customers. Now, it's funny because as black folk, a lot of times our expectation level for black businesses is so high, and then we don't put those same expectations on white businesses. So we have to think, guys, are you putting the same expectation level on the pizza shop around the corner as you do at the soul food place down the street that's owned by a black person? All right. So once again, number 1, have the mindset of success. Recognize and understand what we're getting into. Okay. We have to be twice as good as other folk. Tip number 2, and I mentioned this on previous shows, but it's common sense. Tip number 2, have the tools to do business. Okay. Have the tools necessary to do business. If you don't have the tools to do business, don't open your business until you get all the tools to do your business. And I'm going to say it again. And I know you guys have heard me, but for those of you who are listening for the first time, when I opened my my alarm business years ago, I was working in corporate America and I had to get an office. I had to get all the office equipment. I had to hire people and the whole shebang. So what I did was I wrote a list down of everything I needed to open that office. Office space, obviously I needed that. I needed desks, computers, all types of supplies, the security systems themselves. And so each paycheck, I would go and I would buy whatever I could. I took a certain percentage of my paycheck and I buy whatever materials I needed, the tools to do business. And several months later, I had all the stuff in my basement. I signed my lease. I was getting ready to move in. And when I moved in, I had everything I needed to do business, all the way down to pencils, pens, paper, supplies, and everything. So many times, guys, we start businesses and we don't even have the tools we need to conduct business. And that's a surefire way to go out of business. Because you can't do business without the tools to do business. It's like building a house and the only thing you have is a screwdriver. That's not going to work. And here's a perfect example. Once again, there was a soul food restaurant that opened up not far from me. And so I'm like, all right, you know what? Let me go support it. It was open about 2 to 3 weeks. People were saying good things about it. So I went over there. Now, the first thing I noticed, and I guess it's just because I'm an entrepreneur and I've done retail before, they didn't have a cash register, and they were doing business. They were writing the orders down on paper, like the old fashioned way. And, people say, okay, that's cool. But what they didn't realize is that that affects other things too. Your inventory tracking. Okay. What type of inventory is moving? All right. What days is this inventory moving? So Monday, the ribs might be going out the door like crazy. Okay. Tuesday, your ribs might not sell as well. So having inventory control on a cash register is pretty common sense. So if you're going to open a retail location, you might as well you could go to Staples and buy a cash register, or you can buy Square and you can input all your inventory on your Square keypad. People swipe their credit card and now you see your inventory. So the first time I went there, I ordered something. They got the order wrong. Somebody wrote something down wrong. No problem. Whatever. It happens anyway. Next time I went there, I had to wait 45 minutes for ribs. Oh, we're just putting some new ribs in. We're going to have to wait till they cook. I'm like, oh man, this is a takeout joint. This isn't a sit down restaurant. This is a takeout joint. So the food wasn't prepared. Now, what I thought was, okay, if you had a cash register that took care of your inventory, once again, if and they've been open at this time probably about a month and a half, still didn't have a cash register. So if you know that you're selling X amount of ribs on this day, then you need to have X amount of ribs prepared for that day. If you know you're selling X amount of fried chicken this day, you need to know that. It's called inventory management, which can be easily helped or taken care of by your point of sale system. Okay, which you can buy right in the Staples, and it's called Square. All right. And all it is a regular computer system. You can charge your credit cards and everything on there, but it also has inventory management. So tools to do business. Now, I still go there. I'm like, okay, they're starting up. I think it was their first restaurant. I give them a pass. And so I still continue to support the restaurant. But to me, that's something that's elementary. If you're in a retail establishment, you need to have a cash register and a point of sale system before you even open that door. That should be the first thing that you're looking at. All right. You want to use technology and leverage it. So you over there writing hand orders, you don't even know how much money you're supposed to be able to reconcile based on writing all of this stuff. And it's just a waste of time. So work effectively. So have the tools you need to do business. That could be physical tools. It could be supplies. It could be software, whatever it is. So tip number 2, have the tools to do business. All right. Tip number 3, and we're talking about, are you doing business or business? Okay. 6 tips to running a tight business. Tip number 3, have quality products or service. You can't sell junk. You sell junk, you're going to be out of business. And once again, whatever you sell, that expectation level needs to meet or exceed whatever product and or service you're selling. So if you're selling high-end watches and people are buying your watches and they're breaking after 6 months, then you're going to have problems, because whatever you're selling, your product or service, is not meeting or exceeding expectations. So make sure that you have a quality product and or a service. Okay, sometimes we get into business and, we're just so happy to be in business, we'll sell anything. I always talk about testing. Test, and test some more before you get out there. So if you're opening up a restaurant, you're probably doing a lot of cooking. So you might want to test your recipes before you go out there and start it. If you're selling a physical product, even on Amazon or on your own websites or whatever, you get samples. You let people test it. You test it to make sure the product is solid. If you're have a service, make sure your service is in order. So you want to make sure you have a quality product and or service. So that was tip number 3. Tip number 4, have a trained staff. if you have staff, people that directly deal with the public or actually whatever in the industry, you need to make sure that they're trained. Have you ever gone to a store and you asked somebody about a product and you knew as soon as they opened their mouth, they didn't know what the hell they were talking about? And you're like, man, let me get somebody else that really knows what they're talking about. Have a trained staff. Okay. And I don't care if your business is an elementary type business. And when I mean elementary, I mean something that's simple like a restaurant. It's not easy, but it's simple. People order food, you prepare food, and they sell the food and you serve them the food. So for example, have a handbook. Okay. So there's no miscues about, what you can do or what you can't do. Have a handbook. There are templates out there online that you can create a corporate handbook. Okay. Have written policies and procedures. This is how you answer the phone. This is how the email should start. This is how we do this. This is how we do that. All right. Just like a franchise. So if you go into a KFC or a McDonald's, everything they do, they have a policy and a procedure for it. The way that they prepare the French fries, the way the hamburger is prepared. Everything has policies and procedures, and that keeps things in order. Okay. Once again, knowledgeable staff. I don't care if it's food. You ever go to a restaurant and you ask the waiter or waitress about a food and they didn't know anything about it? Versus going to a restaurant and you ask somebody and they'll tell you exactly, oh, this is great because such and such is prepared this way. They know what they're talking about. What that does is it increases sales. Okay. People are like, okay, wow, this is a good staff. So tip number 4, have a trained staff. Have handbooks, written policies and procedures, knowledgeable staff, and last but not least, courteous or good customer service. Courteous or good customer service. Now, I'm not a big Chick-fil-A fan, but every time I go to Chick-fil-A, with my kids or my wife or whatever, very polite, everything is on point, and they're one of the top customer service fast food companies out there because everybody is trained. Now, I've gone to other places. I'm not going to call any names. I go in and I order something, and the person behind the register acts like I'm bothering them. What can I help you with? Instead of being, friendly and courteous. So have a trained staff, have a handbook, written policies and procedures, knowledgeable staff, and make sure they're courteous and you have good customer service. A lot of times you're going to get bad reviews. So if you're a restaurant like on Yelp, not necessarily because of your food, it's because of your customer service and the way you handle things. So that's paramount to being successful. Tip number 5, and we're talking about, are you doing business or Bidness? 6 tips to running a tight business. Tip number 5, and this is pretty simple, opening and closing on time. All right. People always talk about black businesses open late and close early. All right. And it's funny because when I was in college, I used to be assistant manager at a video store while I was working my way through college. And the video store was right across the street from my apartment. So one of my roommates and we both worked there, and we were both assistant managers. Young brother owned the video store. So we were there to support him. And literally, I could walk out my front door, walk across the street diagonally, and I would be at the store literally in 30 seconds. So one of my roommates who also worked with me, he always had problems getting up in the morning. So if the store is supposed to open at 9 o'clock a.m., he's over there running. I can hear him downstairs putting on his pants. Be 9:15, 9:20, he opens the store. People are out there waiting for him. So that doesn't give a good impression on the store. And most of the folk knew that it was a black-owned store, and we were in a high-end white neighborhood. They knew the owner was black. Most of the employees were black. And we got cats opening the store 15, 20 minutes late consistently. And he ended up getting fired. But it's common sense, guys. Open and close on time. Now, I know sometimes things happen. But on a regular, make sure that the store is open and closed and doing business at the times it says it's supposed to be. That's something very simple. All right. And tip number 6, look and act the part. Okay. I'm going to give you 2 real life examples with 2 of my businesses. When I owned my mortgage business for close to 10 years, everybody that came into that business, all the industry people, the wholesalers that were trying to get our business, they always said, man, you guys are the best dressed mortgage brokerage company that we go to. And we go to 10, 20 each day. And you guys are always the best dressed, best professional shop that we go to. And I explained to my partners and my employees, I said, we're in the money business. Once again, we're a black-owned mortgage company. The majority of our employees are black. So we have to, once again, look and act the part. And we always have to exceed expectations. So unlike other companies or mortgage brokers, I knew some white mortgage brokers, they come in shorts and flip-flops in the summertime and still get that money. We didn't have the opportunity to do that because we had to look and act the part. And we did business with all ethnicities, all races and everything. And so once again, we had to look and act the part. So now on the flip side, I had talked to you guys or mentioned to you guys before that I had a retail kiosk in a mall and I was selling bamboo pillows. So one of my partners, and it was grueling work, one of my partners started coming in with sweatpants. Now we had shirts and everything, trying to once again look and act the part. And then you got somebody else coming in with sweatpants as opposed to, slacks. That's not going to play. It doesn't make sense. Once again, look and act the part. Especially us being black-owned businesses, we have to stand out. We have to exceed expectations to be successful. So today, guys, we're talking about, are you doing business or Bidness? 6 tips to running a tight business, and I'm just going to review real quick. Tip number 1, have that mindset of success. We always need to be twice as good as our competition because people are looking at us to fail. So always try to exceed expectations. Tip number 2, have the tools to do business. Don't open the store and don't have a cash register. Don't open the store and don't have product to sell. So always have tools to do business. Tip number 3, have quality products and or services. You can't sell garbage and expect to be successful. So have quality products and or services. Tip number 4, have a trained staff. Have a handbook, written policies and procedures, knowledgeable staff, and have the staff be courteous and have good customer service. I mean, it's just common sense. So make sure your people are on point because they represent your business and they can make or break your business. Tip number 5, open and close on time. That's self-explanatory. If you say you're going to be open at 9, be open at 9. If you say you're going to close at 9, make sure you close at 9, not 30 minutes early because you got to go home and watch Game of Thrones. All right. And last but not least, tip number 6, look and act the part. So whatever business or industry that you're in, look and act the part. If you're in the car wash business, as opposed to having people running around in all type of different outfits, go buy some T-shirts or Izod shirts or whatever and have everybody looking the part. Because that makes a big difference the way that you look, your presentation. So if you run a car wash and a mobile car wash and people are coming out there with raggy shorts on, old sneakers and tank tops versus another company that has, a dress code with shorts and they're wearing the company shirt, that makes a big difference. So look and act the part. So whatever industry you're in, make sure that your look coincides with whatever that industry is. Just like we were in the money business, in the mortgage business. I didn't have the benefit of wearing shorts and flip-flops and to be able to do that type of business that some of the white mortgage brokers, they could get away with. We couldn't get away with that. So make sure you look and act the part. Now, that's today's show, guys. It's pretty short today, but I wanted to get to the point. And once again, make sure that we're doing business and good business because what it does, it reflects on all of us. Once again, a lot of times, guys, we'll have higher expectations for our black-owned businesses than we do anybody else. We'll let anybody else, perfect example, excuse the French, shit on us, like Gucci, and people are still going back there and buying Gucci, okay? When they had the blackface sweater and all these other companies that do that, but we continue to support them by giving them our money, all right, which is crazy. Now, if a black-owned business did that, we'd be up in arms, but we expect that from other companies and we still support them. So it's time to make a stand, guys. It's time to start doing business and not business. Also, before we close out, guys, I say it each and every week. Thank you so much for supporting Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, the podcast and the blog. Each and every episode, we get more and more downloads. Please continue to spread the word so we can get this good word out there. Put it on social media, word of mouth, whatever you need to do. I greatly appreciate it. We're over 5 million downloads. I forgot to say that last week. We hit over 5 million downloads since our inception in August of 2014. So we're up to 248 episodes as of today. And I want to thank the BEB family for support and spreading that word. I love you guys. Thank you. Now, if you're a first-time listener, please, I'm about to give you all my social media handles. Please connect with me via social media. Anything long, please hit me at jjones at blackentrepreneurblueprint.com. That's JAYJONES at blackentrepreneurblueprint.com. Facebook, just go to Facebook, Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. Twitter, hit me at jjones001, JAYJONES 001. Instagram, jjones for real, JAYJONES, the number 4, REAL. YouTube, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. We have additional content that's not on the podcast. Go to YouTube, type in Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, and please subscribe. Okay. LinkedIn, if you need to connect via LinkedIn, go to J Jones Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, and you'll be able to find me, and we'll connect via LinkedIn. And if you want to be included in the BEB text line for live notifications and reminders, please text BEB, like Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, to 555-888, BEB to 555-888. Love you guys. I'll see you same time next week. Peace.